Sup shitters, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SB Reviews, where today we've got another one of our longer reviews because we're going to be checking out an entire album, an entire record by an artist named Erick Duran Manard. I'm hoping it's pronounced like that. We're going to switch over to here. We've got Odd Symmetry, Erick Duran Manard. We've got a total of 5 acts, and then we've got an epilogue, and we've also got a couple of Nashville demos. So that's cool. We're gonna just turn off that side camera now, or that main camera arguably, just so that we can get into the crux of this review. We're gonna listen through this entire thing from start till finish. Can I make this album art bigger? You can see it down here. If you can't see it, I'll put a picture up and that'll be okay, just so everyone can see the album cover. And we're going to hear what we think, starting with Act 1, Scene 1, March Toward Madness, Remember December, Scene 1.5, Shattered Illusions, 2020 Visions. Okay. So there's a dynamic range between these instruments. Those drums are sounding quite quiet. The panning is really encouraging though. Like it's been mastered nice and loudly as well. Got kind of a cowboyish kind of doomsday kind of vibe. I'm liking the combination of the sort of lead guitars, the main sort of like cleaner kind of strings in the middle, and the drums. It does sound kind of like a march, doesn't it? I'm wondering if there's going to be an instrumental album or not, because those are always fun. Nice development of that sort of introduction thing. Oh. Got some explosions, some tapping. Nice, this is cool. Oh, the bell tolls for thee, right? Remember December. Is it, because my understanding this is about Erick's experience throughout 2020. That's what this Odd Symmetry is about. Act 1, Scene 2, Dogs of War Make My Day. Nice fills there. Nice was digging into it. There was no hesitation in regards to the start of this track. We went straight into the main sort of theme. There's a lot of mid going on with these lead riffs. Is like Dogs of War Make My Day, is that kind of following on from the Shattered Illusions in the previous track, kind of talking about how like the things are becoming like a lot more aggressive? Is this like the start of 2020 when people started going nuts about things? The bass is probably my favorite instrument in this. I love how the bass sounds in this. Like, I'm loving a lot of the guitar sort of melodies as well, don't get me wrong. It's just that bass tone is just... It's nice to see a bit of brightness in that bass tone, you know? Sometimes when people EQ bass, it's kind of dull and flat. Having a bit of that high end in the 1 to 3 kilohertz range is good. Nice groove there as well. Some kind of 16th and sort of 32nd notes on that kick. Nice rib as well as the drums. I know I'm talking more about the production at this point, but I'm kind of just sort of like looking to understand how all the elements put together. And how like the sort of the individual tracks connect. Some very interesting like interactions between the two sort of like lead guitars. There's one that's a lot more active on the right side, and on the left side one's a lot more sort of chilled out. Oh no, sorry, no, that's the rhythm guitar. The rhythm guitar with the chords are kind of holding back a little bit, allowing the lead guitarist to have a bit more room to kind of play around with. There's a reasonably sick kind of groove to it though. Oh, nice, a nice intro harmonics there as well. Because apparently this is like a rock opera. That's my understanding of this. Is that this is meant to be a sort of contemporary rock opera. And in that sense, it definitely is a rock opera. It's very dramatic, but I do. Oh, this is a nice little resolution at the end. Where are we going with this? Kind of a dreamlike quality this last little bit, isn't there? Oh, and there's a little bit of delay on that lead. I'm wondering what they were trying to communicate with this song. I don't necessarily think I don't necessarily think that I should be simply taking the titles of the songs literally and leaving it at that. Dogs of War Make My Day kind of sounds like a boss battle, you know? It sounds like they're facing up to the reality of the situation and trying to sort of cope with it the best way they can. We've got Scene 3, The Instigation, Chasing Phantoms. This is a lot. Extremely atmospheric. That piano is nice. Nice resonance on it. Oh. Okay. Right. Well, I mean, that was very brief, but it's an opera. So like, it's meant to show sort of different ingredient, like different parts of sort of an overall concept and tell it in a way that's meant to be sort of, that the listener can digest. And so far, I think March Towards Madness, Dogs of War, the instigation, is this where like, they've sort of gotten wind of each other and there's going to be some drama after this. Act 2. Ah, of course, Act 2. So Act 1, Scene 1, Act 1, Scene 2, and then Act 2 is, sure, everyone's feeling all kind of tough and all kind of ready to go with it, but then Act 2, Scene 3, The Instigation, is, I'm starting to get this. Alright, so this is development of that sort of animosity. Conspiracy V, Silence, See No Evil. Remastered 2021 version. Cool, I'm digging the vocals. I like his style, and I think that having these words is going to help fill in the kind of gaps I have in my overall sort of impression of this music. Oh, kind of getting that Guns N' Roses kind of into it. That's cool. I'm liking that Axl Rose kind of into that chorus run. I'm liking the fact they're layering the vocals for that chorus section. See No Evil, Conspiracy of Silence. I wonder what they're getting at with this one. Is this to do with Dogs of War? Like the conflict that was being sort of, or the instigation? Cool, conspiracy. Yeah, that's cool. I like how he's linking in the title of the song into the track now. This melodic theme here helps me sort of connect the rest of the track together as well. Each of these tracks has their own identity, but I think in a way, they have their own identity, but they're not completely separate. The vacuous facade is plain to me. Yeah, okay, I'm starting to get a feel for what this track is about. I like how he rose on those lyrics then. It seems like a very comfortable vocal range for him, and the way that it's been mixed and mastered sits nicely in the mix. His vocal technique is pretty good as well. Again, like, he doesn't seem like he's straining himself. That triplet groove on that end of it was pretty dope as well. Those delays as well on the stereophonic dog. Yeah, I'd say this is probably one of the stronger tracks off of this release. Interlude section? Luscious use of chorus and other effects here, it's good. Adds a little bit of a... It's a little bit more engaging when you don't just have the overdrive, you know what I mean? Taking that flanger phaser effect as well, taking them in. Very kind of late 80s, very early 90s kind of vibe from this. Cool, and again, like, I know I said this before, that fill is just, because that fill is repeated, you know when you're going to go back into a chorus. It's familiar, it's effective because of that. It helps to guide the listener through in a way that's nice and pleasant. This... I think that, like, having that call and answer through the repeater is really clever, and just the repetition of this vocal melody here in this hook for like the first half done twice, and with the melody itself, the musical theme, and then repeating that same melody, it just helps to get the song stuck in your head. Cool little bit of cowbell there at the end as well. Yeah, no, I love instrumental tracks, but the only concern I have with certain instrumental tracks, not necessarily the ones within this album, is that they're very much open to interpretation. You have the instruments and the emotions that they try to invoke, which has been done well here by Erick. He's obviously, like, the instigation was blatantly obviously what that was about. March Towards Madness was very good, especially with those kind of snare kind of marching drums. And then you've got the Dogs of War with kind of a very kind of Clint Eastwood kind of vibe to it almost. But having Conspiracy of Silence for vocals, just it kind of helps to tie the remainder of the pieces together. We've got Act 2, Scene 5 next, You and Me, Beautifully Broken.
I never wanted to disappoint you, no. Or see derision in your eyes.
Okay, we're doing half and half, single and then layered vocals.
I always desired to so enjoy you, without a pretense or disguise. There is no way that I could feel the same love for another, 'cause there's none like you.
So I mean, I'm safely assuming this is a love song. I'm safely assuming that. Again, my understanding of this release, this rock opera, is that it's about sort of Erick's development throughout this time, coping with the good and the bad, and making it through 2020. It's very potent content for an album. 2020, it's very potent. It's very gentle, but that edginess with kind of the distorted kind of fixed sliding guitar was nice too.
You and me so beautifully broken. I never intended to deny you, no. Or pass a mountain yet to climb.
Again, the guitar, the overall harmony loops really well. You've got each instrument taking turns, aside from the drums, obviously, which goes the entire time.
I always wanted to satisfy you.
Oh no, actually no, the snares come in on the second half as a call and answer response. Call and response, I mean.
Leaving no dream is wasted time.
Almost got a Cat Stevens kind of vibe from that sort of arpeggiated fingerstyle guitar.
There's none like you. Do what you do. Can you lend a hand to lift up this broken man? For I'm just like you, doing what you do.
Oh, okay, that was an interesting phrasing for that, when the vocal's going to take the reign over the overall groove and let the other instruments follow it. Yeah, very clear to understand what they're discussing in the song. I'm assuming that by Beautifully Broken, that he's telling this other person how much he loves them, despite his flaws, to want that sort of to be reciprocated, to have that help from that person to get through those times.
You and me so beautifully broken.
Kind of a fourth harmony there, wasn't it, with those vocals? That was interesting. Guitar solo. That haka hacha, that was an interesting sort of onomatopoeia going on there. I dig it. That kind of a cappella-ish kind of vibe.
There's no need for you to pity me.
Interlude?
No, just speak angrily when my sinful heart sits enthroned. If you
I'm liking how it's resolving to the major there. I think it's quite nice. It kind of relieves that tension in that last little section beautifully. Really charming chord progression. The bass line works well with that. Oh, nice. Nice little twist there.
Would you still give a damn or turn away and walk alone? There's no egress from this gilded cage till I best leave the stage, free to my celestial home. Yeah.
Oh, we're returning back to that lead. We just wanted that lead to surround that kind of last kind of interlude-ish kind of breakdown bit. Kind of a jazzy kind of vibe with these extended harmonies. That bass is so active that it works well, and the drums are so dreamy. I think that this justifies the 4.5 minutes. I think that having this instrumental section at the end after getting the kind of the crux, the context of the tale, it's kind of time to contemplate what has been said in the lyrics, what's been sung. The guy's obviously like very confident in his performance, but there's sort of a sense of humility as well at the same time within his vocal style, and I really dig it. Act 3, Scene 6, Odd Symmetry, Calm in My Chaos. Ooh. Where are we going with this one? Nice sub bass there. There's sort of a dissonance and malevolence about this. I'm liking how tense and kind of disparate it is. But also feels claustrophobic at the same time. Kind of making me nervous, right? Did things not go well with Beautifully Broken? I mean, this kind of musical concept repeated throughout the 2 minutes. I think the layering is what really makes it pop. And there we have it. Calm in My Chaos. I assume he's trying to find peace within the whirlwind around him. Act 3, Scene 7, Sometimes She Cries, Dirge for an Angel. I know I didn't say a lot about that. I found that when he sings, it gives kind of context to the rest of the parts of the album. Or parts of the acts, you know? Is this when he's by himself and then he has this connection with that other person that he was talking about in Beautifully Broken?
Failed in the darkness, trusted friend, you're there. Near as my shadow, oh, your heart to share. Descend, my angel, this life behind your care, and best years for me. Sometimes she cries, she laughs along the way.
I mean, obviously, I think it's good. It's a really good thing to mention at this point that I do consider that there was a lot of creativity and talent required to be able to record something like this. As I understand it, Erick Duran Manard is an award-winning artist. He's like a finalist in a few competitions and all that, like the American Songwriters Association. Recently as 2016, 2017. It shows. There's clearly an understanding of what's required to make fantastic music, even without whether it's instrumental or whether it's sort of vocal focused, with obviously with the exception to the guitar solos and all that. There's complexity to it. Complexity. This is a very gentle track. Like, this is incredibly different to Odd Symmetry, the one we had before. There's a wide range here. And that contrast in a rock opera, like, this is incredibly important. If you just have it all sounding the same, people are going to switch off and not really pay attention to it. Even if it's, like, amazing, you know? That 16th note groove is solid. Oh, that's C major 7 chord. Oh, A minor 7 chord maybe.
Plow fields of sorrow, feel your calm caress.
Oh, hang on, what was that? What was that kind of synthy kind of instrument there? That was fascinating.
Winter, hope soon yields redress. Words fail expression, but your soul embraces heaven on me. Sometimes she cries, she slows her weep to break. My lullaby, her sighs rest, silent falls the day.
There's just a really relaxed, chilled, kind of melancholic vibe to this track, and it's kind of like soothing, and it's lulling me into a false sense of security where, like, because it's so smooth and consistent, I can hear where the hooks are and the kind of verses are, but I'm also sort of like... I would argue this is one of the better remasters on this track. Yeah, that there. 70s, 80s kind of vibe for like kind of prog acoustic, kind of rock, kind of good fun to it. Alright, we're building up a little bit.
Sometimes she cries, she laughs along the way.
Sometimes she cries, she laughs along the way.
Sometimes she cries, she slows her weep to break. Sometimes she cries.
We're really hammering. Oh?
My lullaby, she dies, rest, whisper where she lay. No more tears to pay, her memory shall stay.
I have to be careful about this one.
Send my angel, I will meet you again.
I have to be incredibly careful about this one because I think I've just figured out. Is this about a person who died? Is this about a person who's died?
Someday.
Oh no! Is this did Erick lose someone really important to him? Is this what was she like really sick and trying to cope with the illness and then eventually they died? And this is him kind of coping with that. Because if that's the case, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm really genuinely sorry to hear that. I'm sorry for your loss. That would have been very difficult to deal with. It would have been incredibly brutal. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I'm thinking that's what it could be about. And because that last bit really got me, you know? Act 3, Scene 8, Lament and Resolution, Learning to Forget. The guitar is crying, man. Interesting guitar harmonies there. Kind of eighth note groove there. Slowing down. And then we have Lament and Resolution, Learning to Forget. That there, Sometimes She Cries, right? That there is the kind of track that sells a rock opera for me. Like, you get sucked into it, right? And you think, oh, it's like a movie, because it is like a movie. It's like a theater show. Opera is... I'm starting to get a better understanding of what this album is about. I mean, like, there is information online about this record that I have read through, just to sort of get a better understanding of it. But I think you still need to listen to the music to really kind of gauge it in full, you know? Lament and Resolution, Learning to Forget. Very mournful guitar line, but there was also like a sense of we will get past this, you know? Act 4, Scene 9, quick ditty, a new stage at RBC.
Well, they say my songs play too damn long when all they want is a jingle. But an artist does things his own peculiar way. To
Live take.
I'd rather not feign nor compete to write a hit single. But may this suffice and play nice. I won't sing all live long day. What'd he say? Here's your ditty. It's just a quickie ditty. Nothing too fancy or complicated, just a simple pop song for you. Let's have a quickie, they say. Oh, here's your friggin' quickie ditty.
I'm liking this is a lot more fun. So is Quickie Ditty kind of his sort of way of getting past the sadness of that and coming to terms with it and trying to continue with his life? Whilst also coping with the expectations of the music industry?
Matters, but how well I can turn this screw. Well, they say radio runs the show. The masses have ears to tickle. But I'm true to myself, though you may think this a bit crass, yeah. Nevertheless, I'll sing in jest. I needn't earn me your blasted nickel. I'll mimic what you want, what you really, really want, while you pucker up and kiss my ass. What a gas. So here's your ditty. It's just a quickie ditty.
You get a real kind of impression that Erick is not particularly fond of like the bigger labels and the kind of expectations they put on him. I love this side of it. This is... I mean, this is Act 4 now, so this is kind of where things start to resolve themselves, and you've had like that middle part, which is where things kind of got to their low point. And I mean, it might have a dip at the end, but things are starting to look up a little bit at this point.
All right, here we go.
This is the best mastering on this album. It's so fresh. It's so... There's just everything here is pretty much perfect. No complaints about this.
So here's your ditty. It's just a quickie ditty.
Which is a shame, because I get the impression from this that he's doing this as kind of a parody, but then maybe he's put it on his... Erick's put it on his album. So it's a part of it, right?
It ain't the size they say that matters, but how well I can turn this screw. If integrity is not the main matter, then I'll wave my finger too.
Again, that's another side of Erick as a human being. Like, this is maybe the brighter side of 2020 is he was able to finally do some shows when maybe things weren't as locked down as they were in the mid half of 2020, and being able to play in front of a live audience was probably really liberating for him, you know? I can understand that. Especially because when you can't do shows, you know, if you're relying on labels for distribution and stuff like that, because they can get it in front of people, but they're like being kind of prissy about it and petty about it, it's a pain in the butt, you know? But that was dope. I enjoyed that one. We've got Act 4 Act 4 Scene 10, Burn It Down, Ashes of Dissolution. What are we burning down? Is this a kind of duality? Like, outside, he's like trying to get out there and make the most of his life, but inside he's still struggling with the flames that just won't die? That foley of the burning is fantastic, by the way. Well done. This kind of sounds like you're sort of trapped in a void, right? Sound design it's pretty solid. It's been done quite well. The juxtaposition, right? The juxtaposition between these kind of shorter scenes and the main sort of 3-4 minute tracks is incredible. It's absolutely astonishing. The duality of man, you know? That contrast is important. Act 4, Scene 11, Take Me As I Am.
I left you crying 'cause of the spiteful words I said. You weren't lying, but like a fool I lost my head. I make no excuse for acting thoughtless and unkind. It's just what I do. I pray you don't leave us behind. Weep a prayer. Lord, shake these walls, then break my fall. I'm in your hands.
Oh, I get it. So is this like coming to terms with the mistakes he's made and trying to become a better human being? And that's what Ashes of Dissolution was, is kind of breaking down the person he thought he was and just kind of trying to become a better human being, perhaps.
As I am. Through all my weakness, you can see this broken man. I'm sorry that I have hurt you. Here I stand.
Those like
I pledge my fealty,
kind of backing vocals are gorgeous. So bright and full of life, vivacious.
I surely don't deserve you. So I gotta say a thank you today. I'm still your man.
Oh, okay. I think I misunderstood Sometimes She Cries, potentially.
Me, baby, as I am. I brought you heartache.
Oh, no, higher harmonies now.
Too
Cool.
many times to count the score. Yet you don't forsake. You stayed on this side of that door. I would be dying if ever I fell from your grace. I'll keep on trying. You needn't pack up that suitcase. Heap a prayer. Lord, love the best I can.
So this song effectively is a kind of meditative. It's about a man who has realized he's kind of really screwed up and has one last opportunity to make things better, and he's thankful for it, and he's praying that he can continue to sort of resolve it and get towards a better future.
As I am.
I mean, it's a given at this point that the instrument performances are basically perfect. Like, I can't fault any of the guitar playing, the drums, the bass, and the vocal takes are pretty solid as well. And the piano and others Foley have been done, applied consciously and intelligently.
I'm sorry that I have hurt you. Here I stand. I pledge my fealty, yet I'm guilty, knowing that I surely don't deserve you.
Although this could also...
So I gotta say a thank you today. I'm still your man, for you take me, baby, as I am. The winds of chaos rage and toss, you're my forever girl. Sooner I die than fight this life without you in my world.
Wait, I'm confused. I don't understand this. I don't understand what's going on. It's got my attention though.
Through all my weakness, you can see this broken man. I'm sorry that I have hurt you.
I'm sorry that I hurt you. That delay, that delivery there was so human, so authentic. It sounds like he really genuinely cares. It's a beautiful thing.
Here I stand.
That's something that can only come from personal experience. You know, like his personal experience, you know? For him to be able to sing like that.
I surely don't deserve you. So I wanna say, I praise you today. You've held my hand. I just gotta say, I thank you today. I'm still your man, for you take me, lady, as I am.
Cool use of panning there. I'm glad those guitars have been playing around between the two sides of the stereo field. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, this is nice. I'm kind of sold on this album at this point. It took a little bit of time for me to really get into it. And that's not me saying that they weren't solid pieces of music or anything like that. Again, I just needed to see a few different angles to really kind of understand it better. But I dig it. I dig it. That's Act 4. We just got Act 5 now. Act 5, Scene 12, Deepest Me, Reflections of a Melancholy Soul. Does sound kind of bittersweet, doesn't it? Oh, okay, we're linking back to earlier parts of this opera to kind of bring it all together and to kind of conclude it. Is that what I'm understanding? Yeah, we are reflecting on what's happened throughout this opera, aren't we? Yep. 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 Cool. Cool, I get it. 40 minutes in, I understand it. The music's very neutral. It helps these other sort of scenes come in and out and kind of highlights them in a way that's nice and healthy. Sick. Alright, I'm ready for this. What's gonna happen in Act 5? I'm invested now. I'm invested now. At the same time, kind of sad because we're nearly done. You know? It's okay. That's alright. Act 5, Scene 13. Prodigal returns. 10 years gone, Scene 13.5, redeem the time. Sorry, I got distracted by some loud banging outside. I'm gonna listen through this one more time. We got knocking. Redeem the time. 13.5. Okay, I'm interested. What else is happening? Act 5 sees Scene 14, time passing by, flight of better angels. Hey, this is a long one. This is a long one, boys and girls. We got ourselves a 7.5 minute one. Oh, goodness. Let's do it. So this is about getting older and kind of watching time fly by and coming to terms with that, isn't it?
In your thoughts and hearts, I never die. I will remain.
Oh, strings. Nice call and answer there. Full response. This is probably one of the more progressive tracks on the mix. It's more of a through composed kind of song by the sounds of it. The rest of the instruments are just forming a platform for the vocalist. I'm liking that turn to a minor 7th or 6th kind of upbeat too. Ooh, rock riff at the end. I'm curious just to see what Erick Duran Manard will do. Maynard.
Sometimes I look back, replaying my mistakes, not a few. Leave the past behind closed doors. The future eludes my vision, but each morn brings hope renewed. This could lead to nevermore. Precious hours slip away.
We're going back to that hook. Yeah, I'm liking how the guitars, the bass, the drums, and those little mild piano bits and like light the guitar bits are working together.
In your thoughts and heart, my life
Kind of reminds me of Journey itself, you know, these strings.
my echoes
It's nice to have those filling in the gaps. I'm wondering if there's going to be any sort of bigger departures from this main sort of musical concept, or if this is going to be it for like the next 3 minutes. I'm liking these kind of double time drum parts in this section as a nice little change from what we've had over the last sort of 5 minutes. Kind of my interpretation of this is that it's kind of like time flying you by. If you're not careful, it will just slip away, right? Hey, good. Different vibe. I'm living for this. This is fantastic. Those woodwinds are nice as well. There's so many different elements in this. It's so creative. I dig how Erick's managed to weave these all together. Really fascinating tapestry. Very moody kind of bluesy guitar affair. Oh, harmonic minor? Remember the original sort of main theme. Cool. I dig. I'm going for a fade out. Very classy. A 30-second fade out. Very, very, very classy. No, that was a really well done 7-minute track. It always kind of makes me nervous when you get a whole lot of 3 and 4s and then suddenly there's a 7 track at the end. But nope. Erick used that time well to communicate. I think if it had been any more than 5 minutes before that change into that final sort of C or D part, it would have been too long. But I think he knew when to sort of shift into that, which was great. And then finally we've got Epilogue, Scene 15. Unseen Watchers, Eyes on Us, Scene 15.5, Sentient Reverberations. Reverberations. Ooh. Ooh. Where are we going with this? What is this? It's very creepy. It's very creepy with that breath. Where's the sentient? That was the epilogue, the end of the opera. There are 2 more tracks. I'm just gonna be right back. I'm gonna give my thoughts on the opera itself in its entirety at the end. You know, from like Act 1, Scene 1 to the epilogue. I want to listen to these demos first though, just because I usually do the conclusion at the end. So we're gonna start with It Had to Be You, and we're gonna also listen to Take Me As I Am. We're gonna hear what we think. I would love to go to Nashville. I live in New Zealand. That's quite a long way from Nashville.
Down that stormy road 1,000 times, where I play the fool at fault on the days we fuss and fight.
You can tell it's been recorded on analog disc. That tone, there's a really nice warmth to it, isn't there?
But in my heart, I regard you as a rhythm to my rhyme. For the passion we share and your generous care, I'm the luckiest man alive. Again,
instrumental performance is on point. The vocal melody is engaging. The rest of the instruments are being really supportive.
Had to be you.
Got those layered vocals on the chorus.
You're my friend, I'm a lover, you're like no other. Nobody else could ever understand me the way that you do. Lady, it had to be you. We've surely seen our share of ups and downs, it's true. Yet the good Lord's providence directs all to see us through. And if one breath I had left, I would whisper that I love you. For your
that like little bum repeated there is a nice little gap in there to kind of break things up in the middle of that verse.
Your embrace and your limitless grace, you're my treasure I'll come home to.
Again, another love song. Like, I've noticed that Erick really writes fantastic songs about his affections for people, how much they mean to him. You know, he's a very genuine human being. There's a classiness and a maturity to it.
Taking me by the hand, making me a better man. Baby, please know it's true. You're my friend, I'm a lover, you're like no other. Nobody else could ever.
Kind of getting a Lynyrd Skynyrd kind of Eagles kind of vibe from this vocal style. That little brum da da, that little change. There's like little shifts in there, like little gaps that are kind of kept there to kind of give little breaks, and it keeps it sounding fresh, you know.
Winds of change may blow, tossing this house to and fro. Your love never fails to show. My arms will never let you go.
Is that a Hammond organ in the background as well? I dig it. Oh, it's so mixed so beautifully. It's so professional sounding. Don't get me wrong, I'm not biased because it's a Nashville demo or anything like that. It's just really good impression, you know?
You're my friend, I'm a lover, you're like no other. God knows, had to be you. Taking me by the hand, making me a better man. Baby, please know it's true. You're my friend, I'm a lover, you're like
It's a very unique snare sound on this as well. Very wistful lead guitar lines. Now, again, there's a lot of creativity, lots of really interesting stuff. There's like halftime bits between like the second to last chorus and that interlude section and the solo part. This kind of interesting outro where you kind of having that half cut before each repetition.
No doubt it had to be you.
Wonderful.
My lady, it had to be.
Actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the tracks that got him an award. I think this is one of his award-winning tracks, which makes a lot of sense. I can completely understand and rationalize why this is as good as it is, and why it got an award. Stunning. Really stunning piece of music there. I'm well blown away by it. Again, completely, genuinely blown away. I dig it. Well done, and congrats on your success with that track. You deserve it, Erick. Take Me As I Am, number 17. A nice little bit of slide guitar, heaps of reverberation in there. Like a nice little shaker or a tambourine or something like that. Guitars are panned really nicely.
Cause of the spiteful words I said, you weren't lying. But like a fool I lost my head. I make no excuse for acting thoughtless and unkind. It's just what I do.
Hey! Hang on, this is in the album, isn't it? It had to be you in here? No. No, but this was in the rock opera.
Lord, shake these walls and break my fall. I'm in your hands as I am. Through all my weakness, you can still see this broken man. I'm sorry that I hurt you. Here I stand.
I do think I prefer the final version, but I love this as well. I don't listen to enough country music, I don't think. If anyone can recommend any country artists for me to listen to, that'd be great. It's a very, very smooth track. It's a very, very kind of, it's almost hypnotic, mesmerizing with how beautiful and sort of, it's got a shimmer to it. It doesn't need the drums or the Hammond organ in this one. It stands on its own as an acoustic performance. These two live demos, It Had to Be You and Take Me As I Am, are both really smart choices to put on this album. It kind of shows where the rest of this kind of, where he started off before he put all this stuff out, you know?
Of chaos raging and toss.
Nice palm mutes.
Sooner I die than fight this life without you in my world as I am. Through all my weakness, you have seen this broken man. I'm sorry that I hurt you.
I'm still not entirely sure how to take this. I can't figure out whether like he's talking to the person as if they're still in the world with him whilst he's alive and they're both alive, or whether the other person did sadly pass away and he's talking about his life in the world without them and how much he wants to make it up to them. You know what I mean? I'm not sure which it is. And I don't mean any offense by that at all. I'm not sure. After listening to these tracks, I'm just not quite sure. But I nonetheless love everything about this track. I think it's very professionally written. The instrument parts come together really well. I'm just gonna turn the camera on so I can do the conclusion. To be honest, I think that Odd Symmetry has been a very unique experience for me personally as a music reviewer. I've done well over 400 of these reviews since May 2020, because for me personally, I started doing these reviews to cope with the lockdown that we had in New Zealand because of COVID. It was a way of me finding my way through it, and I learned a lot about the world through that. I learned a lot from a lot of different musicians, and Erick Duran Manard. I really hope I haven't mispronounced that. If it is Maynard, sorry. The only reason I'm not saying Maynard is because I'm used to there being a Y, like M-A-Y-N-A-R-D. So if it is Maynard, and I apologize if I've gotten that incorrect. Getting back to what I was saying. Erick is one of those artists who's done an incredibly beautiful thing. They've shown their kind of development. They haven't just shown the good parts and the bad, like the good parts. They've shown the overall picture, the journey that they've been through. They've opened up for the world to see in a way that I think is incredibly respectable and creatively admirable. Something that I have a lot of respect for. I mean, you look at the amount of work that went into these different tracks. You've got a total of 15 parts to this, and each of them, like, I can look at this and I can, like, remember what each of these sounded like. They all had their own sort of unique identity, whilst also being sort of, it felt like they were stylistically cohesive, even though there were so many different elements, from like really kind of like industrial kind of sort of very dark bassy synths to Foley to like marching drums to like sort of traditional drums, kick and bass to like rock instrumentals to Hammond organs and woodwinds and all these other kind of things going on. It's been a hell of a ride, really, and I get the impression that for Erick Duran Manard, it was an incredible hell of a ride for him too. I'm just going to sum up my understanding of each of the acts. I think that March Toward Madness, Dogs of War, and Instigation. Oh no, Instigation was Act 2. The first two tracks, Dogs of War, Make My Day, and March Towards Madness, were and Shattered Illusions, were maybe, you know, everyone kind of thought that 2020 was going to be a fantastic year. There was a lot of optimism for it. And then as we kind of got into it with that kind of perhaps naive sense of optimism, things kind of fell to pieces and it became very sort of chaotic and people started getting very kind of rowdy at each other and it became kind of horrible, you know. Act 2 and Act 2 was scenes 3 through 5. Conspiracy of Silence, Beautifully Broken, Instigation is kind of being alone and sort of having to understand ourselves better and kind of figure out what we need and want. And kind of making sort of sense of the world around us, like people not being honest with themselves or us, missing information that's crucial for to actually be able to get by in this world. Act 3, I have a suspicion that after things becoming so incredibly sort of messed up in scene 6, scene 2, I mean. No, what am I talking about? I'm kind of losing my mind here. After things getting so messed up in Act 2, in Act 3, it was more about you kind of realizing that, oh, things are really bad, you know? And potentially, sometimes she cries is when that person might have actually really been lost, you know? You kind of took them for granted, and then just the next day they're gone. Lament and Resolution, Learning to Forget, is kind of trying to come out of that hole and try and find any source of light that you can in order to continue to want to live. Act 4, you know, you had a quick ditty which was kind of poking fun at the record industry, but also I think there was genuine anger in that performance. Erick was really sort of really angry. You know, it frustrated with what he had to deal with record label execs and everyone who wanted to write a jingle as opposed to an actual song that 4 minutes was too long, which is completely ridiculous. I'm sure there's lots of people who would love to listen to this and who could listen to these tracks on their own that are over 4 minutes and enjoy them. You know what I mean? But while I had a lot of fun with that, I could see that there was more than just it's a fun, charismatic track, you know, that you've got to look deeper than the surface, right? And then Burn It Down and Take Me As I Am was kind of trying to sort of kill or destroy that part which used to be really toxic or maybe offensive and just wasn't wanted anymore. Burning yourself down, everything there was, and just trying to rise up from the ashes and be a new person, you know? And Take Me As I Am was like, look, I know I'm a mess. I know I really screwed up and I probably don't deserve you, but I want to be with you. I want to have this life. I need to be forgiven for this. I need to find peace, you know? And finally, Act 5, Deepest Me, Prodigal Returns, Time Passing By is kind of coping with everything that's happened and then accepting the fact that time has passed and that we don't have any control over that and we just have to make the most of it that we can, and kind of coming to terms with the fact that, you know, we can't get back all the mistakes we made. We've just got to continue to live and do our best. And that's my understanding of that. And then Unseen Watches, Eyes on Us, Sentient Reverberations. I don't quite know what that was. I haven't really figured it out. But I think if I had more time to consider it in context, I'd probably have it. Again, some pieces of music, you have to really have a day to kind of mull it over before you kind of put like a pen to paper and be like, this is exactly what I think it's about. And yeah, that's effectively it. And then It Had to Be You and Take Me As I Am, two very beautiful demos. I think that Erick has managed to step it up another level from those. I'm really hoping that Erick finds success with this album because it is incredibly solid. It's very human. From what I understand, Erick is a multi-instrumentalist and was involved with everything to do with this. I have a lot of respect for Erick. And as you probably figured, it took me a while to really get into this. But I think that slow burn was worth it. I'm glad I stuck with it. I'm glad I had the opportunity to listen to it. The musical performances were on point. Never a sort of a weak moment. The vocal harmonies were incredibly interesting throughout. And it was nice to hear some really intelligently put together guitar solos. And it was just, yeah, a really fun experience for me. Fun in the sense of, as a music reviewer, sometimes you get a lot of really kind of, you know, good music. But occasionally you'll listen to an album like this and it'll have that little bit of X factor. And it really kind of gets your full attention and you can just kind of vibe with it. And that's kind of what happened here with Odd Symmetry. I don't know how Erick would top this. I don't know where Erick would go from here, but I don't think that he necessarily needs to, because this is an album that he can sort of sit beside and say, I'm proud of this. And I really hope that he is. But that's effectively my review of Odd Symmetry. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. Hopefully, thank you for watching the entirety of it if you have. Please do check out Erick Duran Manard's website. I will put a link here for you to check out. I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything I think this is the first time I've listened to a rock opera that I've really actually cared about. At like an independent level. Now, sometimes you get people and they try and do something like this and it comes across as kind of pretentious. But that isn't necessarily what happened here with Erick Duran Manard. You could tell it was something he produced from the bottom of his heart. And maybe his darkest hour. And I think it's been worth it. Hopefully it was therapeutic for Erick. Hopefully he understands himself better. We will see what happens in the future. Stay cool, stay safe. There's also rumors for your local artists and musicians at this point in time as need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spider hands out.